Hello, my dear brothers and sisters. It is with great joy and gratitude that I am here today, in this very special space, where we can gather, even virtually, to share moments of reflection, learning, and spiritual growth. Welcome to our channel. If you're new here, I invite you to subscribe and become part of our community, where we seek to strengthen our faith together and support one another in our Christian journey. Today we will address a deep and transformative theme. God is calling you, how to hear His voice. Oh, how wonderful it is to know that God, the Creator of the universe, calls us by name and desires to communicate with us. Sometimes, in the midst of the hustle and bustle of everyday life, it can be challenging to perceive that divine voice that guides and directs us. But the good news is that God speaks to us in various ways, and today we will explore practical ways to discern that loving voice. And many of us have gone through moments when we felt lost, confused, or even alone. It is in these moments that the voice of God becomes crucial in our lives. Through prayer, meditation on the Word, and reflection, we can open our hearts and ears to hear what He has to say to us. Let's talk about the importance of prayer, not just as a moment to speak, but also as a sacred space to listen. Have you ever stopped to reflect on how the Bible is a powerful tool for hearing God's voice? Often the answers to our questions lie within the Scriptures. When we dedicate ourselves to reading the Word with an open heart, we can find comfort, direction, and even a special calling that God has for each of us. So, I invite you to leave a comment below about how the Bible has spoken to your heart. Let's share experiences and strengthen one another. Another important aspect we will discuss is the issue of silence and solitude. In such a noisy and chaotic world, we often forget the importance of disconnecting to connect with God. The practice of solitude allows us to hear His voice more clearly. We will talk about how to create space in our lives for this intimate and personal connection. Have you ever had an experience of hearing God in moments of silence? If so, please share with us in the comments. Additionally, we will explore how community and the people around us can be instruments in communicating God. Sometimes, God speaks through a friend, pastor, or even a stranger. The importance of being surrounded by people who encourage us and help us discern God's voice is fundamental. How about leaving a comment about someone who has been a channel of blessing in your life? Let's celebrate these stories. Of course, to hear God's voice, we need to be willing to obey. This is a fundamental part of our faith journey. How can we practice obedience in the small things of everyday life? Often, it is the small decisions that lead us to great changes. Throughout the video, we will discuss how we can apply this in our lives and how it brings us closer to God. Finally, I want to remind you that God calls us every day, and this is a continuous journey. No matter where you are in your faith, know that He is always ready to listen and reveal Himself to you. If you feel touched by this theme and want to delve deeper, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss the upcoming videos. I am eager to hear your stories and reflections on how you have heard God's voice in your life. Let's embark on this journey of faith, love, and discovery together. May God bless each one of you. O God, Father, Creator of all things, we gather in your presence at this sacred moment, seeking your love and guidance. We know that you are always calling us, that your voice echoes in our hearts, but we are often distracted by the noise of the world. Therefore, we ask you to help us find the inner silence necessary to hear your call. May we slow down our lives, distancing ourselves from the daily agitations that surround us, and thus create a sacred space in our souls where we can genuinely feel your presence. Lord, help us to value the moments of solitude, where our spirit can rest in you. May we seek calm and tranquility, allowing our minds to be shaped by your peace. In the midst of chaos, teach us to find refuge in you, so that we may be attentive to your voice which often whispers in the silence. We ask you, O God, to guide us in reading and meditating on your word. May the Bible become not just a book on our shelves, but a source of life and wisdom. Open our hearts and minds so that we may understand your teachings and apply them in our lives. May each verse read be a seed planted that bears fruit in our being, guiding us in our paths. Grant us discernment to perceive the depth of your message and the courage to live it daily. As we seek to listen to your voice, Lord, help us to practice attentive listening. May we be more present in our interactions with the world, noticing the subtle advice that comes from friends, the lessons that life teaches us, and the reflections that arise from our inner selves. May our hearts be open to recognizing your guidance in the small things of everyday life, and may we gratefully embrace each message you send us. In our search for you, may we find strength in community and counsel from our brothers and sisters in faith. May we be surrounded by people who know you and can guide us in our paths. We ask that you connect us with spiritual mentors who can inspire us and help us discern your voice amidst the many voices around us. May we be humble enough to receive their guidance and counsel, recognizing that often your wisdom is revealed through the community around us. Lord, in our journey, help us to be attentive to the signs and circumstances that surround us. May we perceive your hand in every event, every change of direction, every opportunity that arises. May we have eyes to see and ears to hear, recognizing that you are always guiding us even in the simplest situations. We ask that you help us interpret the signs you send us, so that we may walk in the certainty that we are following the path you have prepared for us. Grant us discernment and an open heart to hear your voice. Help us distinguish between your truth and the distractions of this world. May we approach you with humility, ready to accept the direction you offer, even if it does not align with our expectations or desires. May our search for you be sincere and profound, and may we always be willing to hear and follow your call with faith and trust. O Lord, amid the whirlwind of life, I come to you seeking an inner silence that allows me to hear your voice. Help me to slow down the frenzied pace of my daily life, to find moments of tranquility where I can connect with you. May I seek the solitude necessary to calm my mind and heart, allowing your presence to be felt clearly and deeply. May each moment of silence become a sacred space where I can hear the whispers of your love and guidance. Lord, as I open your word, may I encounter the wisdom that resides within it. May the reading and meditation of the scriptures become an essential part of my routine, and may you open my eyes and my heart to understand your teachings. May each verse I read be like a light that illuminates my path, bringing clarity to my doubts and strength to my uncertainties. Grant me discernment to comprehend the depth of your message and to apply it to my life so that I may follow in your footsteps with faith and determination. Help me, Lord, to develop an attentive ear so that I may perceive your voice echoing in the subtleties of everyday life. May I be attentive to the advice of friends, the lessons that life brings me, and the reflections that arise from within me. In every situation, may I find your guidance, recognizing that your wisdom manifests in various forms. May I have a sensitive and receptive heart, capable of discerning your will even in the small things of daily life. O God, may I be surrounded by a community of faith that strengthens and guides me. I recognize the importance of seeking the counsel of spiritual mentors and sharing my doubts and longings with those who walk alongside me. May your voice manifest through the words and actions of these brothers and sisters, and may I have the humility to listen to and embrace their advice. May we grow together in faith and love, building each other up on our spiritual journey. Lord, help me to be attentive to the signs and circumstances you place in my path. May I recognize your presence in each event, in every unexpected encounter, and in every choice that presents itself before me. May I have the sensitivity to interpret these signs as manifestations of your plan, guiding me in decisive moments. Teach me to trust in you even when circumstances seem confusing, and to seek your light amid the darkness. O God, I ask you to grant me the spiritual discernment needed to hear your voice amid the distractions and influences of the world. May I keep my heart open and receptive, ready to accept the direction you offer, even if it does not align with my expectations. Give me humility to submit to your will, knowing that your plan is always better than my own. May I walk in trust, listening to and following your voice, for I know that it is the key to a full and fulfilled life. In you. O Lord, in this moment of seeking and reflection, I come to you with a heart thirsty to hear your voice. Help me find the inner silence I so desperately need. May I slow down, distance myself from distractions and the agitations of daily life, and find moments of tranquility amid the whirlwind of life. Lord, teach me to value solitude, to create a sacred space where my soul can rest and where I can be receptive to your direction. May each moment of silence be an opportunity for me to hear your whisper, to perceive your presence around me. Lead me, O God, to the reading and meditation of your word. May the scriptures be a light for my path, a guide that illuminates my steps. Open my eyes and my heart to understand your teachings, so that I may internalize them and apply them in my daily life. Lord, grant me the wisdom and discernment necessary to meditate deeply on each verse, so that your truth resonates within me and guides me on the journey you have for me. Help me to practice attentive listening, Lord. Allow me to be sensitive to the subtleties of life, to the messages that you place in my path. May I perceive the advice of friends, the lessons from daily challenges, and the reflections that arise from within me. May every sign you place before me become an opportunity to hear your voice, to follow your guidance. May I be an attentive learner, always willing to listen to what you have to say, even in the small things. Father, I recognize the importance of community and the counsel that comes from those who walk in faith. Connect me with spiritual mentors and friends who can guide me, who can be instruments of your voice in my life. May I be surrounded by a community that builds up, that shares experiences, and that walks together in search of your purpose. Help me to value these relationships and to seek wisdom in the words and actions of those who carry your light. Lord, teach me to be attentive to the signs and circumstances that you place in my path. May I see beyond the surface of daily events and recognize your hand in every detail of my life. Help me to interpret the signs you give me, to perceive decisive moments as divine opportunities. May I always be alert, ready to follow your will, even when it presents itself in unexpected ways. God, I ask you to grant me deep discernment and an open heart. Help me to distinguish your voice from the distractions and influences of the world. May I cultivate the humility necessary to accept the direction you offer, even if it does not align with my own desires or expectations. May I always be willing to follow your path, trusting that you know what is best for me, and that your will is always good, perfect, and pleasing. May my search to hear your voice be constant and sincere, leading me to a deeper relationship with you, O Lord. May each day bring me closer to you, listening to you, following you, and living the fullness of the life that you have prepared for me. O God, in this moment of seeking and surrender, I come to you with an anxious heart to hear your voice. Help me to find the inner silence that I so need. May I create a sacred space in my life where the distractions of the world cannot reach me. Teach me to slow down, to value moments of solitude so that I can calm my mind and open my spirit to your guidance. May each breath remind me of your presence, and may I find the peace that surpasses all understanding. Lord, I recognize that your word is a beacon amid the darkness. Grant me the grace of daily reading and meditation on the scriptures. May I open my heart and mind to truly understand your teachings. Give me wisdom and discernment, so that as I meditate on your promises, I may find answers to my questions and direction for my paths. May each verse I read be an intimate conversation between you and me. Help me, O God, to practice attentive listening. May I perceive the subtleties of your voice in my day-to-day life. May I be attentive to the advice of friends, the unexpected situations, and the reflections that arise within me. May each of these moments be an opportunity to hear your guidance, and may I recognize your hand leading me in all circumstances. In your infinite wisdom, Lord, I also believe that your voice can manifest through the community of faith. May I be surrounded by people who share the same desire to hear you. Connect me to spiritual mentors who can guide me and encourage my growth. In communion, may we discern together the truths that emanate from you and that help us navigate the uncertainties of life. Oh, Father, teach me to be attentive to the signs and circumstances that surround me. May I see beyond the obvious and interpret the events of my life as your messages. Help me to recognize your presence in decisive moments, giving me the courage to follow the path you have shown me, even when I do not fully understand your designs. May I trust in your wisdom, even when the paths seem uncertain. I ask you, Lord, for an open heart and a discerning spirit. Strengthen me in the ability to distinguish your voice from the distractions and influences that surround me. May I be willing to accept the direction you offer, even when it does not align with my expectations. May humility dwell within me, allowing me to surrender to your will. May I live in tune with you, listening to your whispers of love and guidance and following the light that emanates from your heart. Oh, beloved God, I come to you seeking a space of inner silence, where the voices of the world dissipate and your voice resonates in my heart. Help me to slow down, to set aside the worries that surround me, and to find moments of solitude amidst the hustle and bustle of daily life. May I create an environment conducive to hearing your whispers, so that my mind calms and my spirit opens to your divine guidance. Lord, grant me the grace to immerse myself in reading and meditation on your word. May the scriptures become a beacon in my life, illuminating my path and revealing your truth. Open my heart and my mind so that I may understand the teachings contained therein, and may wisdom and discernment be abundant in my meditation. May I find comfort and direction in each verse, and may your voice manifest through the words I read. Help me, Lord, to listen attentively to your voice in every moment of my day. May I perceive the subtleties that surround me and recognize that you speak through circumstances, the advice of friends, and the reflections that arise within me. Grant me the ability to be attentive and receptive to the messages you send me, so that I do not miss the opportunities to hear you, even in the simplest situations of life. O Father, may I be surrounded by a community of faith that inspires and guides me. Lead me to wise and loving people who can share their experiences and insights, so that I may better discern your voice. May I be open to receiving counsel and guidance, recognizing that many times your wisdom is revealed through those around us. May the communion with other believers strengthen my spiritual journey and help me understand your purposes. And when signs and circumstances present themselves, Lord, help me to be attentive and to interpret what you wish to show me. May I recognize your presence in decisive moments and understand the paths offered to me. Grant me clarity to see beyond the superficial and sensitivity to understand your will in every situation I face. I ask you for discernment and an open heart to hear your call. May I be able to distinguish your voice from the distractions and influences of this world. Help me to be willing to accept the direction you offer, even when it does not align with my expectations or desires. May my humility lead me to trust in your plans, knowing that your wisdom is infinitely greater than mine. May my quest to hear your voice be constant, and may I always find peace and security in your presence. O God of love and wisdom, I come to you seeking an inner silence that allows me to hear your voice. Help me to slow down amid the rush of life, to find moments of solitude that renew my spirit. May I silence the worries that surround me and open my heart to your guidance, that amidst the noise of daily life I may find the necessary peace to discern your whispers, those that come from within, revealing the path you wish for me to follow. Lord, I cry out for a deep desire to immerse myself in your word. May the daily reading of the scriptures become a sacred moment in my life, where I can find comfort, wisdom, and direction. Open the eyes of my heart, so that I may perceive the teachings you offer me, that they may be light for my steps and nourishment for my soul. May I meditate on each verse, allowing your truth to penetrate my being and transform me day by day. Help me, Lord, to cultivate an attentive listening. May I be alert to the subtleties of life, which are often the expression of your voice. May I perceive advice from friends, lessons in unexpected situations, and internal reflections that guide me toward your purpose. May I never underestimate the ways in which you speak, and may I always be willing to listen with an open heart, attentive to your instructions. O Father, I recognize the importance of community and the counsel that comes from others. May I be surrounded by people who reflect your light, spiritual mentors who help me discern your voice amidst my doubts and uncertainties. May I learn to share my journey with brothers and sisters in faith, supporting one another in the search for your will. May I be receptive to the guidance given to me and open to the learning that comes from communion. Lord, I ask you to help me be attentive to the signs and circumstances that surround me. May I recognize your presence in the decisive moments, in events that seem random but are, in fact, your way of communicating with me. May I learn to interpret these signs with clarity, discerning your action in my life, even when the answers are not immediate. May I have the courage to follow wherever you guide me. Finally, Lord, I ask that you grant me discernment and an open heart. Help me to distinguish your voice from the distractions and influences of the world. May I be humble enough to accept the direction you offer, even if it does not align with my expectations or desires. May I trust in your plans, knowing that they are always better than mine. Grant me a spirit of surrender and the assurance that by following your voice, I am walking in the way of truth and life. Amen. It's wonderful that you have joined us until now. I hope today's reflection has touched your heart and broadened your perception of how to hear God's voice. Often in the busyness of everyday life, we forget that He is always calling us, guiding us, and loving us unconditionally. It is essential to stop, listen, and discern what He has to say to us. You might be wondering how you can better hear God's voice in your life. The truth is that this is an ongoing process. It involves prayer, meditation on the Word, and above all, an open and willing heart to follow His will. It is not an easy task, but it is a wonderful invitation to a fuller life, rich in experiences with Him. With each step we take toward this attentive listening, we can more clearly perceive the direction that God desires to show us. Additionally, remember that hearing God's voice is not limited to moments of silence or prayer. Many times, He speaks through circumstances, through other people, and even through small whispers within us. Be attentive to the messages that appear in your life. God can use even the most unexpected situations to teach us something new or to guide us. Throughout of this process, it is also important that we share our experiences. If you felt touched by this message, or if you have something in your heart that you wish to share, don't hesitate to comment below. Your story is important and can be the inspiration someone needs to hear and follow God's voice in their own lives. Together, we can form a network of support and encouragement, helping one another to remain steadfast in faith and in listening to the divine word. If you liked what you heard, consider subscribing to our channel. By doing so, you will not only receive content that can enrich your spiritual journey, but also contribute to more people accessing these transformative messages. Your support is crucial for us to continue producing material that edifies and brings hope. And don't forget to share this video with friends and family. Sometimes the word we speak can be exactly what someone needs to hear at that moment. God can use you as a channel of blessings in another person's life. Finally, I want to encourage you to set aside time in your daily life to go beyond what has been said here. Reserve a moment in your routine to seek God's presence. Ask Him how you can better hear His voice and have the courage to follow the guidance He gives you. The journey with God is incredible and full of surprises, and with each step taken toward Him, you will find more peace, purpose, and joy in your life. May you be an instrument in God's hands, listening to His voice and carrying His message to all around you. May the peace of the Lord be with you, and may His light illuminate your path each day. We'll see you in the next video, where we will continue this journey together. May God richly bless you.